Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jacob Licklider discussing, of course, tonight's episode of Doctor Who, The Pilot, which is the first episode of Series 10, written by Stephen Moffat and directed by Lawrence Goff. I'm going to make this my impromptu thoughts because I just finished watching the episode. Don't take this as a formal review, and the score that I will give it at the end is subject to change on second viewing. Without that out of the way, there will be no restraint on spoilers in this video, so if you have not seen the episode, please do so now. I will wait. Alright, everyone gone? Okay, let's go. So, The Pilot was an interesting episode to watch. I'll start by saying what really first caught my eye was the direction. The opening shot of just the doctor's office looked really good, and a lot of the cuts were perfectly timed to sort of. It's obvious looking back on it that was to save on budget, but it doesn't. It just shows just enough so your mind can fill in the gaps on like what the set's supposed to look like. There's a moment where Heather sort of comes out of the water and sort of spurts up, and her face just starts to form. Then Goff quickly cuts away, which it works really well, I think, just to make it look good. So that's just something that really stood out. If I had to complain about the direction, the scene where Bill goes down into the vault, Goff uses shaky cam, and it looks like someone's just sort of walking in front of Pearl Mackie, walking her go down, and it doesn't gel with the rest of the episode very well. It looks, but again, it's nothing new. Of course, with the Husbands of River Song and the Return of Dr. Mysterio and Hellbent all being sort of the last episodes, the writing had to be, I think, strong enough to make an impression. I don't know if it was strong enough to make me forgive Stephen Moffat for the last 3 episodes, because they were bad. This one, however, was, I think, pretty good writing-wise. It does take a big hit in the story. It's set up really well. The first 30 to 40 minutes or so are really well set up. There are a lot of interesting things. Moffat uses the Doctor lecturing in a university to tell the passage of time and just sort of forward this relationship between the Doctor and Bill, and him and the university, and it just sort of, it makes it feel a bit more organic. It's not perfect by any means, and actually the music is really good in that scene. It's also good in the scene where Bill thinks someone's in the shower, when she turns out her foster mother isn't home. Like I said, there are some instances of music being good, but overall I'd have to say the music is a weak point of the episode. It just gets too loud, and a lot of it's like, feel this! You will feel this emotion, which I don't like. There's especially a point near the end where the Doctor is going to wipe Bill's memory. Bill says something along the lines of, oh, think of you, what happened if this happened to you, and then Clara's theme plays. You don't really need that. It should be fine. Like, that scene, it didn't need music. Bill should have stormed out. Then we should just have followed the Doctor as he looked to Susan, said his line to Susan's photo, then to River's photo, then the TARDIS, then cut to Bill, then maybe start the music, because building up to a triumphant, let's go see the universe, because that would have worked a lot better, I believe, in my opinion. But yeah, I also have to say that it's sort of, the end of the episode actually seemed a bit rushed. It felt kind of like we were sort of rushing to a conclusion where we really, really should have been taking some time to fill things out. Although I don't know how else they really would have ended it. So I think it sort of works, but it just doesn't work very well. They're also, I do have to take points off for the fact that Moffat, he doesn't do humor well in this one very much when it comes from Matt Lucas as Nardole, which is kind of sad because Matt Lucas is a genuinely funny actor. I've seen him in other things, and he can be funny. He's just not very good. He really seems just there for the Doctor to talk to, which I get. But, and I get it. I just want a little more. He seems like he's going to be tolerable. Just nothing really special for a companion. Though can we get an answer on how he's alive? Like, is he an android? Is he still human? Because at one point, like, it seems like a nut or a bolt or some sort of thing falls off of him, like, and it just sort of is awkwardly done. But then there's a joke made about him using the restroom. I just don't get it. It doesn't make very much sense how this sort of works. Let's see, what else is there to say? So, I also have to say that the right that was important, and probably the most important thing which the episode did, probably the best, was actually to introduce Bill Potts as a companion. Now, I said in my predictions that I really hope they do. I was going to wait until we actually see Bill before I make any judgments on her. Things I like. I really like the way Pearl Mackie just sort of acts. Like, in photos, in production photos, she does not look very good. Like, a lot of her face is just almost too expressive, and she doesn't look very photogenic. But when you have the film, and you can actually see her acting and going through it, it's actually a pretty good performance. I also quite like the fact that Moffat actually, what it seems that Moffat did to write Bill as a lesbian was just sort of, he seems, at least, he made it pretty subtle. Like, he didn't like have her spouting it off like every 5 seconds like he does with Madame Vastra, which I absolutely hate. That's really annoying. He just sort of She just sort of mentions it, and she sort of he lets Mackie do a lot of just some of the acting of showing that she has a crush on this girl Heather with her eyes, which is it's really good. That's how you should really be doing it when you're not the best at writing romance. Let the actors just sort of take liberties, which I hope that continues. I also quite like how it isn't till the end that the Doctor actually will let her travel with him, which I think that's a pretty good idea, and I like that we focus a lot on Bill herself. Um, she isn't a perfect character. We could get a little more development of her life, but it's a good enough start. It's much better than Clara, who was I exist. That's it. And it seems that we're actually just going to get a normal person, which is really good. I think back to basics, being a normal companion is good for now. I'd love another alien companion that's not Nardole, but yeah, it's pretty good. Anything else that I have to say? The title, the pilot, I'm glad that they sort of worked it in. It didn't work in very well, but it worked in okay. Um, I think I prefer a star in her eye. Also because I like the effect that they did for Heather's eye. It actually looks pretty good. Um, if there's anything that I would say is, I would say I'm glad that the Daleks are just in it for like 5 seconds. Sadly, they don't do much, but it's implied to be that they're in the middle. Well, what's weird is that they're implied to be in the middle of the war with the Movellans. So why didn't they just go ahead and use the ones from? Well, I wouldn't use the ones from Destiny, but the ones from Genesis and Resurrection, and Revelation, and Remembrance, and those other episodes. It'd be pretty. That would have been much better than just that. I also like how you just see the Movellans for like one shot, because I hate to say it, the Movellans don't look very good. They don't. They aren't a good looking villain. Um, but yeah, I can say for the most part that the pilot was at least a pretty good start to Series 10. It's got me excited. The Coming Soon trailer makes me a little less nervous about Smile, but I'm still very apprehensive because it's Frank Cottrell voice and it is emoji robots. But other than that, I think if I had to score it right now, I'm probably sitting at about a 7 out of 10. Maybe a 6, but I'm gonna give it a 7. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a 7 because it was genuinely a good start to a season. It's good. Let's hope we can keep it this level and hey, maybe even improve. But until then, this is Jacob Licklider signing off.